What's going on, everybody? Patrick Deng here, and welcome back to the channel. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why you actually don't need any sales experience to get started in tech sales. I'm going to be covering some of my personal stories when I started my sales career at Oracle without really much sales experience. And I'm also going to really dispel some misconceptions that a lot of people may have and a lot of my students have. And I've been able to help them get some tech sales jobs with this advice. So hopefully you guys find it valuable. Now, before we go ahead and get started, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this. And let's go ahead and dive into this. Now, the first common misconception a lot of people have is that they believe they need a fancy degree to get a job in tech sales. Now, take it from me, someone who has a fancy degree from the University of Southern California. Did they actually teach me anything that I really needed to know to start my career in tech sales? Not necessarily, right? I even took a sales class at USC and it was helpful, but I wouldn't say it prepared me extremely well to succeed in a career in tech sales. It just didn't, right? And most universities in general, especially in America, they don't really teach sales. Nobody really goes to university thinking, oh man, when I graduate from college, I'm gonna be a salesman, right? No one is really saying that. It's just kind of like a role that people fall into because they're not really sure what they want to do and they find it interesting and they just end up doing it. So first of all, you don't have to major in business, you don't have to major in sales. Most schools don't even have that. You know, a lot of my friends and peers that joined me when I worked at Oracle, they were coming in with like history majors, biology, math, political science. It literally did not matter what major you took or had in university, because when you're starting in sales, companies treat you as if you don't know anything about anything and you're starting from the ground up. Now, I will say that when you go to a four-year university, it kind of shows the company like, hey, you know, I'm kind of educated, you know, I worked hard to get here, I can think and I can learn on the job. That's pretty much what a four-year degree is indicating to a future employer. Now, if you do not have a four-year degree, let's say you have a two-year degree, or maybe you don't have a degree, or maybe you have, you know, some kind of degree, maybe two-year degree, you had a couple years of working experience in something else, not necessarily tech sales, and you want to break into the industry, which I think a lot of people want to do that. In that situation, you still can do it. Are you at a disadvantage compared to someone with a four-year degree? A little bit, but it doesn't mean you can't do it, right? Because at the end of the day, they don't really teach sales in college anyways. From an educational standpoint, you're basically equal to anybody else. So when you're applying for different jobs, you have to really show that you're going to work hard and that you have the ability to learn on the job, right? And be coachable and think critically, where you're not just going to be a robot, like a sales robot, but you're actually going to think like a consultant almost, have a consultative solutions approach when you are selling instead of just pushing product down someone's throat. And if you can show the recruiter or hiring manager that you're just like that, well, it's going to be a lot more easier for you to get hired. So don't worry about your degree. Are you at a disadvantage? Yeah, accept it. But do you have a shot? Of course, because there are plenty of people that hire others who do not have a four-year degree, right? Many people want to be more diverse, more open to that. And so you got to find these pockets of opportunities where you can, you know, slide your way in. Now, another misconception that a lot of people have is they believe that they need to be very technical or need to code to be successful in tech sales or to even start in tech sales. Now, I'll tell you this. Do you need to know how to code or be technical to work at Oracle from an entry-level perspective, no experience? Absolutely not. Many of my friends have no idea about code. Maybe they weren't even interested in technology at all, but they just got the job and they were able to get it without being technical at all. It's the same with any other company. Like if you want to work at Slack or Salesforce or, you know, whatever it is, they don't expect you to code, right? Like if you knew how to code, you would be an engineer, but you're not an engineer. You're trying to be a salesperson, right? Here's the interesting part about sales and technology, sales in particular. You don't need to know like the inner workings of how to code, but you do need to understand like generally how a product provides value and how it helps the customer. And even when you're selling to, let's say, the VP of marketing at a company or something like that, they don't really want to hear the technical talk. That's for like the engineers and the consultants, and they deal with that. The people who are the decision makers at these large companies who you're trying to sell to, they don't know how to code either. So they just want to know like, how much does it cost? What value does it provide? How fast can you provide this value? Is it gonna be easy? Is it gonna be hard? And that's pretty much it. So if you can communicate that value, you don't have to talk so deeply about coding. You know, if you don't know how to code and you don't know anything about coding, don't worry about it because it's not necessary. Real life example, when you're trying to close a deal and it gets technical, a lot of times the salesperson is not even the person that will talk about those technical aspects. They'll bring in, let's say, a technical consultant or a sales consultant or even an engineer, and that person will talk about all the coding aspects of a deal, and you just kind of like introduce everybody and kind of take a step back, let them do their thing, and you come in and you try to close the deal. So don't worry about it. Don't even let that be something that holds you back, just go for it. Now, the next misconception that people have is they think that it takes years to learn the art of selling. And the truth is, actually it doesn't. Like, not at all. I think if you maybe are average or below average, it may take you like a while. But I feel like if you actually put in the work and you put in the time and you're trying hard every day, it should be relatively quick. For example, in the sales world, typically you'll start as an SDR, which is a sales development rep. And those people, all they really do is they go out and they try to generate leads with potential customers, generate meetings. To learn that skill of like cold calling, cold emailing, LinkedIn, if someone started from scratch, from zero, it would probably take them 6 months if they really tried hard and they had the right mentor or they were learning from the right manager. I would say 6 months to actually get good at the job to consistently generate results for a company. Now, when it comes to, let's say, closing skills, which is a whole nother skill, when you're talking on the phone, you're trying to build a relationship, things like that, I think you can get good in 6 months, but to really get the system going, it might take you a year. So if someone really tried really hard to learn sales, I think it would take you 6 months to get the entry-level job down part right. Then if you want to advance, 1 more year, then you can get it all done within 2 years if you put in the work, and that's just my opinion. Now, other people, they're a little slower, that's okay, right? It might take them 1 or 2 years to get good at sales development work, generating meetings, and then they advance, and that's totally okay. But the truth is, it doesn't take you like 5 years to get good at sales. It just doesn't. I would say it takes like 2 years or less. So when you're applying for these jobs and you don't have any sales experience, it's okay, right? Because companies, like I said before, they understand that you don't know anything about anything. So as long as you're willing to think, learn, and be coachable, and you're actually trying hard in the job, that's really what they're looking for. Because if you have those characteristics, when you actually get into the job, you might learn extremely fast and you might outperform everybody else, right? So focus on, learning and being open to the opportunity, and not so much of what skills you currently have, but what skills you're willing to develop. And the next part is we're gonna talk about age, ethnicity, and inclusivity. And I'm an Asian person. When I was at Oracle at the time, I would say it was predominantly Caucasian. In my little department of maybe like 100 people, I would say 80% Caucasian. So I remember this one time, this other Asian person who just started work at the company, he wanted to have a meeting with me because he wanted to ask me some questions. I was like, all right, sure, And at the time I was doing pretty well at Oracle. So he's like, hey, Patrick, do you ever find it hard to, succeed in this environment because you're Asian? And I'm like, what? Actually, I was kind of surprised that he asked me that question. He was like, yeah, because we're Asian, people look at us differently and we're not the same as everyone else and this and that. And I was like, actually, I don't have that problem at all. And I actually never felt like I had that problem. In reality, I feel like in technology, true that it's predominantly Caucasian from my personal experience, and over time it obviously is changing, right? I see more Asian people there, more Indians, more African Americans, more Latinos and stuff like that. So it's becoming more mixed culturally from an ethnical perspective. I really believed in that moment. I said it doesn't really matter what your ethnicity is here at this office, because people don't actually care about that. What they care about is the results that you bring, your ability to sell, and whether or not you're really just a likable person. And so I didn't really feel what he was feeling, and I told him, if you're feeling like because you're Asian, you're not gonna succeed at this company, I don't think it's the environment, because we're kind of in the same environment. I think it's really on your head. To be honest, I still stand by that. So a lot of times, if you are a minority and let's say you're going into a predominantly Caucasian environment, in Western society that is, that depends where you're watching this, just know that, it's okay. You can still perform really well no matter what your ethnicity, as long as you provide the value, you're good at selling, and you're a likable person. I think in general, tech is quite an open environment relative to other industries that I've experienced. Don't let that hold you back. Now, the other part is age. So this one's a little more trickier, right? I would say that being older, getting into tech sales, people don't necessarily discriminate you based on age, right? It's not like they're thinking, oh, this guy's 40 years old, no way he's gonna be able to do tech sales. That's not true. If you're willing to learn and you have that mindset, you can still succeed in this world, and because you're older, you have more experience in life, that maybe you even be better than a younger person. However, I will say that personally, in my experience, I've found that sometimes when someone is a little bit older, it's a little more difficult for them to adopt to the newer technology. It's just it takes longer for them to get it, right? So for me, if I'm learning something on the computer, it might take me 10 minutes to do something. Literally, my coworkers before at Oracle, doing the same exact thing. Maybe they have 5+ years of experience, but they're doing this new thing on the computer and it's taking them an hour to do something that would take a younger person 10 minutes. In that situation, it's true that an older person is more likely to have a more difficult time to, adapt, but that's just more of a probability. It doesn't mean that they are unable to do it. It's just that there's a probability that they're gonna have a hard time. The thing is, it's not about their age, right? It's not like, oh, you're old, you can't do this. It's more like, can you do this or not? So if you're older and you can do everything a younger person can do, then it doesn't matter. No one's discriminating against you. But if you're not really performing the task up to the standard you're at, then it's not about age at all. It's just like, can you show that you're good? If you're not good, then you're not good, right? It doesn't matter how old you are. My point is that don't worry about your ethnicity or, sexual preference or your age or whatever. That's actually not too important. From my experience working in tech sales in San Francisco, I would say it's more about your skill. Are you actually good at your job, and just focus on that? And if you're good at what you do, then that's pretty much it. End of story. Now, the final misconception we're gonna talk about is that you can actually get started today. Meaning, a lot of people, when they're thinking about getting into tech sales, maybe they have a job or they don't have a job, or they're thinking about making the switch, this and that. You gotta just start today. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait till you're ready. Don't read a ton of books to feel like, oh man, I gotta do this and that, and then I feel confident in myself, I can apply for these jobs. Actually, it doesn't matter. All you really need to do is get some general understanding, watch my YouTube videos, they're free, of like what tech sales is, how it works, what are the jobs, and then apply for the ones that you want. Find great companies that you like, go on job boards, send your application, write your cover letter, whatever it is, whatever it takes, that's what you need to do, and just apply for the job and see if people are receptive to it. Because a lot of times you might find that people will actually bring you in for an interview and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't know they would invite me. And then you just go through the process and do what you do and get the job, right? And in other cases, if you don't get the job, then it's okay. Figure out how to make it better, learn how to write a better resume, and just go for it, right? No matter what stage you are in your life, whether you're young, you're just in graduating college, or you're older and you're thinking about making a career switch, I really do encourage you to just get started today. Find time after work or whenever you got free time and just start applying and start putting yourself out there, because the jobs are out there. There are plenty of companies looking for quality salespeople just like you. You just gotta show them that you're someone of quality and of value and you're willing to learn, and they're gonna hire you, right? You shouldn't wait for the market to be in a perfect condition. They're never gonna be perfect. It's all about the confidence you have in yourself here. So if you believe in yourself and you believe you can do it, you're gonna go very far just with that belief. And obviously you gotta be realistic. You still gotta put in the work, you still gotta write a good resume and things like that. But the first step is really believing in yourself and putting yourself out there. Please don't be a person, I've seen this so many times, where somebody says, I wanna do this, I wanna do that. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if I was doing this? Okay, cool, but what are the steps you're taking today to actually get to that result? And if you're not doing anything today, well, then your dreams are never gonna be a reality. Whatever it is, just go for it. I promise you. Define your goals, do the things you need to do every day to actually work towards that goals, and something will happen, all right? Something will happen. You may get rejected, you might get, maybe you don't get the job, your dream job that you wanted, but at least you get somewhere and you have a base where you can consistently improve. And so that's gonna be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to go ahead and give it a like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Now, if you wanna take your sales game to the next level, make sure to check out my masterclass, Sales Legacy. Link is in the description. It's my masterclass that's gonna show you everything you need to know when it comes to sales and starting your career in sales. So if that's something you're interested in, check out the link in the description. With that said, my name is Patrick Dang. I'll see you guys in the next one.